I'm James Kirk.
I'm Michi Hoyer.
And you're watching simnews.tv.
We are nearly at the end of a fabulous season. 3 rounds to go here at the 2019 WTF1 GPVWC Super League here this evening in Japan at the wonderful Suzuka Circuit. I'm David Carter. Alongside me once again is Caitlin Penny after we had our little broadcast last night in Singapore. Caitlin, pleasure to be here like as always. Championship really hotting up as well. 3 contenders with 3 rounds to go. And tonight, a very, very crucial evening for a lot of drivers and a lot of teams.
Pleasure to be here, David. Thank you very much. Indeed, I'm very much looking forward to it. Suzuka is a circuit that drivers always tend to look forward to. It is one of the prime examples of a driver's circuit. If you ask any driver what their top 3 circuits are, Suzuka does tend to feature quite often. Anyway, we have some very, very competitive drivers at the top end of this field. Some of them were racing in Super League Lights last night and have a good knowledge of the track and of the cars. Other drivers, of course, have been strong all season long. And we do have, as you say, that 3-way championship fight with just 3 races left. It's getting close, and I'm sure it's going to be yet another thriller.
Oh, it's going to be awesome. Absolutely awesome. And as we're just finishing off practice here, a minute and a half to go in that. Before qual, I'm just going to run you through a few new names or returning faces in some cases as well. I'm going to start off with the fact that Tobias Olsen makes a return to YTF1. He started the first few races of the season. Has had this sort of, break, so to speak, break from racing for a bit, but he returns to the YTF1 outfit for the rest of the season, I understand. Jason Muscat, as well, the current championship leader in Supercup, he's making a return to Super League after quite a while out, actually. He is actually in for Liam DeVal at Hawkeye this year. It's actually going to be really interesting to see how Jason gets on. I'm looking forward to see how he's performed because he's had a great season in Supercup. Great to see him back in Super League in the Hawkeye car as well. An interesting face, actually, in the second of the YTF1 cars. Leon Bock. It's Yannick's brother, and he's in the car on his debut here. I believe it's his debut in GPWC altogether, I think, Caitlin, actually. But that's going to be interesting to see how he gets on.
Yeah, I don't recognize the name Yannick. I recognize the name Yannick Bock, obviously, but Leon Bock, who will be taking the YTF1 car and hoping to score the very first point of the season. So I suppose he's got pressure in that, and also pressure because of his name as well. He's just lucky he's not called Schumacher or something. But whatever the case, Leon Bock is going to be taking that car today, and let's not try to compare him to his brother too much. much, since of course Yannick does have a much more theoretically fast car, and also a lot more Factor 2 experience, and probably a lot more GPVWC, well, definitely a lot more GPVWC experience as well. Still, good luck to him on his debut, and good luck to all of the other drivers returning or regular that we have on the grid.
Yeah, Yerny Simracing as well. He's actually a big name who's just turned up to green stripes at this event. Tom Parker last time out, but Yerny Simracing in that car this evening. Going to be great to see how he gets on tonight. He's going to be partnered up with Alex Cooper, of course, as well. And I believe everybody else, I want to tell you what, there was one other driver, I believe, who is returning or returned, because there is Ryan Elliott. That's the one. He is in for Fabio Sixter as well. So Ryan Elliott, again, he hasn't done Super League for a while himself, but he has made the step into the Red Archer car. That is all the different runners and riders. Oh, Danny van der Neet as well. He is in the Storm racing car as well. He is in for Matthew Williams in there as well. Currently 29 drivers on the game, on the server, and practice just finished now as well. Dennis Jordan top in the session, right kick, Alex Siebel. Going to the championship standings, because it's getting all very tight, all very close now in the standings. Yannick Bock, after all the penalties that occurred from Singapore, Yannick Bock leads on 221 points, 5 points clear of the reigning champion Alex Siebel on 216, Dennis Jordan on 199, so 22 points separating the top three. So they're all separated with, by less than a race victory, so to speak, with 75 points to play for. Very, very close there. Fabio Sixter is now out. He's not out of the championship battle technically, but on 163, it's going to be a very, very difficult job for him to be able to get the championship, but not impossible to do that. I'd like to say as well, Evolution Motorsports, after last time out, their results in Singapore, have won the team's championship, 420 points, as I've just been disconnected from the server. Always good fun, that. But yeah, 420 points. ACR on 275, from Red Archer on 236. So that's the main battle for in the team's championship now, the constructors. And then underneath that, Epic and Edge, 170 place, 162. So battle between 4th and 5th, and then Flag and Scuderia Brasilia level on points on 113. So there's 3 major battles in this Constructors Championship. 2nd and 3rd, 4th and 5th, and 6th and 7th, all scrapping out there to beat one another. But Caitlin, these 3 people at the front of the field, Bock, Siebel and Jordan, all year have been basically the class of the field. And it's now going to get, for those guys now, it's crunch time.
Yeah, totally. 3 wins for Yannick Bock. He took his 3rd one of the series last time out at Singapore, and his first since round 2. So it was very important for him to get that, to get his car back onto the top step of the podium, just to give him that psychological boost coming into Suzuka, to show everyone that he's not dropping back, to show everyone that he's not lost anything. And then, of course, there was a tight fight for second last time out between Dennis Jordan and Alex Siebel, where Siebel very nearly passed Jordan on the final lap of the race and ended up spinning off in the process. So Siebel has 2 wins to his name, as does Jordan. There are actually 3 wins to Fabio Sixter, who is behind them in the championship. However, Sixter has been significantly less consistent, I'm afraid, with a DNF at Singapore last time out in the early stages, and also a DNF at Spa as well. So he's going to need a miracle to get into that championship fight. Whatever the case, still some very, very competitive drivers in this field. Another driver who's won multiple races so far this season and cannot be counted out for a win today has to be Petar Broljak, because of course Petar has won 2 races this series as well, although isn't in the championship fight due to actually missing 4 races. He missed the first round at Australia, and then he missed Turkey, Canada, and Great Britain as well. And when he returned to the championship at Germany, immediately won again. So we know that Broljak can psych himself up when he needs to, and he can't be counted out, as cannot Eros Masciuli, who is another driver to have taken a win so far this season.
Yeah, it's all going to be very, very close. Just seeing Dennis Jordan setting provisional pole position at 25.2. For everyone watching at home, feel free to put your predictions in the chat of who you think is going to get pole position here today. I see there's 25 of you watching on 28 of you now watching on YouTube. Hello everybody and welcome. Feel free to bring your friends along as well to the broadcast. If maybe try and get involved in sim racing on GPVWC as well. Obviously getting closer now to the end of the season. Obviously there'll be new teams trying to join in, maybe potentially new drivers as well, looking to maybe try these cars out as well. And you can find out how to get involved in the description below of this live stream as well. Just look below the video, see how to get involved on the website, how to get the mod, how to get involved in the Discord as well. There's over 700 members on the Discord, so plenty of people to go along and have a chinwag with, really. So Jordan's still provisional top of the standings for Matthias Moose there, who looked pretty decent there in testing as well. Second place, he had a bit of a rough session in Singapore. Burlack in third, and Jeffrey Fournay in fourth, and Reichelt in fifth. Still people trying to put in some banker laps. Just as well, Tobias Olsen down in 27th. He's lost his front wing on his return to the series. He's going to make a very early trip to the pits as well. Everyone coming through the final corners. Alex Seaborn, P21 at the moment. He's going to come across the line and he's going to set P2 for only 300ths of a second there for the ACR Vodball car.
And I tell you what, he was very unlucky there in the final sector because he actually lost probably more than that time because his teammate held him up through 130R. I presume that what they were planning to do was have him slipstream his way through behind his teammate and then have his teammate Stefan Rohr get out of the way in time for 130R, but they didn't quite do it in time, and Siebel had to take a shallower line than he would have liked and lost probably more than the amount of time that he is off pole position currently. So if that ends up costing Siebel pole position, that will be a mistake from the ACR guys. However, that's still a very, very fast lap. He set the fastest first sector of anyone that time around, and we know that Siebel is capable of strong results as well. So I'm sure that's not going to be the end for him.
Man, he did take advantage from that slight ACR misjudgment. Yannick Bock took pole position here at this moment in time. The first man in the 24s at 1:24.962. Siebel just creeps into the 24s as well. It looks like a lot of people are just going to be doing one lap and then pitting. Because I think Yannick Bock now, is he going to make a trip into the pit? Yes, he does. Siebel will probably likewise follow him. So it's Bock from Siebel from Jordan. So the three championship protagonists in championship order, currently 1, 2, and 3. That's just Moose in fourth. Dan Brewer there in fifth for Edge Esports. He's currently ahead of his teammate Peter Burlack, 5 in sixth place, so 5 and 6 of those guys. Epic as well. They are 7 and 8 with Fournier leading right kilt. And then Sapala in 9th place and Stefan Roth, second of the ACR Vodballs there in 10th place as well. But still a long way to go, 8.5 minutes still to go. Still plenty of time for people to move up the grid.
So let's see if we can find someone who's just about to start a lap and have a look at the full circuit. Sorry, what was that? All right, Dennis Jordan. Let's take a look at him as he heads through the S's at the start of the lap. He's already been through the first turn and the S curves. And he's just been through turn 7 at Dunlop Curve, down into the Degners. This is a very easy place to make a mistake if you dip a wheel into the grass, and then it can just suck you off into the gravel. There's the hairpin, the tightest and slowest corner on the track, before you fire up the hill into one of the fastest corners on the track, which is turn 12, completely flat. Round you go to the right hand side, and then spoon curve, and he's going to get a bit of traffic in the way there. That was one of the Whitey F1 cars, and now he accelerates out of spoon. Would have lost a tiny bit of time in that, and now you see is that his teammate there waiting to give him a slipstream? Yes, it is. So Jordan flies past his teammate Yannick Bock, heads through the flat-out 130R corner before breaking down into the Casio triangle, 16, 17, 18, and out through the final corner to take. That was a slight improvement, but he doesn't move any further up the order, and he will probably be cursing that YTF1 car.
Well, he won't be the only person cursing the YTF1 car, because behind there was an enormous accident between Leon Bock, and also Peter Burlak as well, and they had an enormous accident through 130R as well. And say Leon Bock, obviously his debut here in GPVWC, struggling to get out of the way about Marcus, so that could be looked on very, very sternly by the Schutz, because that ruined a couple of people's laps potentially there as well. But that is something to be looked into by the disciplinary committee. But Yannick Bock there, still top of the standings as a result. But Jordan closes in, he's in third position still, from Moose, from Brewers, and Burlak. So everyone's still pretty much in the same order as they was a few minutes ago. But Yuni Simonchik there into P10 for Green Stripes. That's a great opportunity for them to really capitalise in their championship position so far.
And that's a quick lap from Matthias Moose, who goes provisional pole. He didn't set purple in any sectors, but he just had a consistently fast lap all the way through. Matthias Moose from Red Archer Virtual Team has gone to the top with a 124.960. That's just 2 thousandths of a second faster than Bach at this point in time. However, we are going into the final 6 minutes now. This is when the track is going to be properly rubbered in. This is when it's going to be probably at its fastest and getting faster still. And this is probably when we're going to see the fastest lap being set, as Riot Kilk there jumps up into 5th place.
And look at that, the top 4 separated by 700ths of a second. But absolutely right there, Caitlin. Kilk up to 5th, he jumps up through the order as well. Florian Gaia also jumping up through the order. He's up to 9th for Red Bull Street Fighter as well. Great effort from the ex-champion there as well. Just going to watch out Peter Burlak. He's about to start a lap. I thought he might be finishing a lap, but he's not. Man to look out for at the moment. I'm not sure if anyone's actually setting any purple sectors. Oh, here we go. Sapala, he's on a quicker lap actually. He's coming across the line in P10. He jumps up to 7th. Nice little move there from the Edenis Engineering car. Menno Klopp be really, really happy with that. Sapala, man, I've mentioned the last few races, improving all the time. It's really, really good to see him making the gains there up through the order.
Yeah, big improvement for him. Also, little improvement there for Ryan Elliott, who's just crossed the line. He's gone up into P19, which is quite a long way behind his teammate Matthias Moose, who's currently provisional pole. So I'm expecting more from the car of Ryan Elliott there, and we know that he's quick, but he's also one of the youngest drivers on the grid as well. So may take a little bit of time to get up to speed. More green sectors coming in at the minute, but no purple sectors yet. And actually, the top 4 are all in the pits, probably setting up their cars for one final run, as are Kilk and Brewer now as well. And they'll probably head out right at the end of the session. Jordan just exiting the pits now, getting prepared for his final flying lap. But behind them as well, other drivers attempting to move up the order, including Mark Hutchinson, who's had a pretty good first sector, but really slow in the second sector there. And that's because this is an in-lap, and he is going to dive in and try to set his car up for one final flying run as well. But really, who we've got to wait for now is the start of the laps for Jordan and Siebel.
Just noticed Riccardo Pellegrini was lost his front wing driving through the gravel. Marcin Rybachuk was on the grass, parked on the side of the track. Not much good for a picnic. We'd have a great view anyway. Yeah, but he's rejoined the track and he's in 16th at the moment for the Mazurek car team there as well. As we've just seen Ryan Elliott coming back into the pits for Red Archer. Of course, seen his teammates so far. Provisional pole position. Great effort for Moose there. And I say, he's a man this year who's sort of been a bit up and down a little bit. He has great performances, and they covered off some 1 or 2 sort of, shall I say, offish performances, shall we say, but great to see him back on form today. And with 3 minutes to go, the man to beat as he goes through the both of the Degners. But let's see if he can hold on to that. Obviously 2 thousandths there, the gap. But very, very strong position, of course, laying down the benchmark for everybody to beat. But looking further down the field, can't see anyone that's really challenging to improve his start, apart from Stefan Ruhl. He's getting a nice tasty drag in 17th position so far. Getting a drag from his teammate, and he's over 4 tenths up. so far. Let's go through the chicane. Here we go. Nicely rides the curve on the right. Nice line out the left part of the chicane as well. Gets dragged up across the line. P17 is going to jump right up to P5. And a great showing there for Stefan Ruhl. Definitely with that lap, the closest he's been to his teammate pretty much since he's joined the team.
Someone else who absolutely timed that drag to perfection was Geoffrey Fournier and the Epic Racing guys, because Kilk was really towing him down that last straight. Ruhr indeed up into P5. However, Fournier's just set the fastest second sector of anyone, and maybe on for its fourth. So fourth place for Geoffrey Fournier as it stands. And now I expect he's probably going to be backing off slightly and possibly even giving Riot Kilk a tow later on in the lap. So that's been timed to perfection there for the Epic Racing drivers, and I'm expecting Fournier to start from a relatively high starting position here. Dennis Jordan now getting a slipstream from Yannick Bock down the straight towards 130R. His second sector time about to come in. And it's quick. It's the fastest second sector time of anyone so far. This could be on for pole here for Dennis Jordan as he slots it into the S's. The Casio triangle, and accelerates as close as he can to the white line, and it is pole position provisionally by almost 0.2 per second. It's a 124.775. Is that beatable?
Oh, any time's beatable, but wow, that is very, very impressive from Dennis Jordan. And team play there, playing off an absolute trait. You see evolution.
Siebel very close. He's less than 1/10 of a second away from Jordan as he crosses the line. That's going to be his last opportunity, but he might well be starting from the front row of the grid here. A good effort from Siebel to do a 124.864. He pulled the lap out of nowhere in the last minute. However, I don't think he got quite as much of a slipstream as Jordan did, and that may have been what made all the difference between first and second. So really good work there for Evolution as usual.
Look at this. Yannick Bock also up on his time, and he's got Jordan ahead of him, going to be trying to help him out with the slipstream. His 0.008 down on his teammate in the first sector, just going through, flying through the spin corners right now. And look at this, he's in the perfect position to get that track down this back straight now. Going passing the track underneath. Let's go through 130R. He's going quick again. He's up on Jordan by 200 through the second sector. Here we go. He gets oversteer in the braking. Could have lost a little bit of time there, but recovers it nicely. But here comes Yannick Bock. He's going to weave and almost round the final part of the lap. Across the line, he goes second as the checkered flag is now out. But at the moment, it's an Evolution 1-2 here with Siebel in P3. Moose is not improving either. Let's see if anyone else is potentially going to be improving. I think Brewer's not. Peter Burlack in P11, he needs to improve because he would not want to start from there. He goes through 130R right now. He's in P11 so far as he breaks towards the chicane. Gets it nicely into the Casio triangle. Gets a good exit as well. He gets the power on nice and early as he comes across the line once again. P11, he jumps into 8th place. He's going to start from the 4th row, just ahead of his teammate Dan Brew. He comes across the line now. I don't think he's going to improve. No, he's not. Eros Musculi jumps up to P11 actually. We haven't seen him at all this session. He's ahead of Florian Gaia. No major shocks. So Simic is down in 16th place, ahead of the star of qualifying in Singapore, Robin Panzar actually. He's down in 17th place, but no real major shocks there at all, I think there, Caitlin. You know, the grid, you know, it's the cream rises to the top, and that's what the three championship contenders have done there.
So, pole position for Dennis Jordan. Very, very well done from him. Yannick Bock, second position. And that means, of course, we have an Evolution Motorsports 1-2 as they've dragged and towed each other to first and second on the grid. And I tell you what, Bock had a few little wiggles in that Casio triangle there as he squirreled a bit under braking and also as he put the power down as well. And I'd be willing to bet that's exactly what cost him the 62 thousandths of a second that cost him pole position. So Dennis Jordan on pole, followed by Bock, Siebel, Moose, Fournier, Ruhr, Kilk, Brilliac, Brewer, and Zappala, and we'll get you the full grid with penalties implemented as well as soon as the session ticks to the race session.
Speaking of penalties, not a lot to say about it. In all honesty, Eros Musculi is a 10-place grid penalty to take, because that'll take him all the way down to 21st. Apart from that, No one's got any.
Robin Panzer has. Yeah, Robin Panzer has 10 slots, as does Eros Masculi. And aside from that, I think you're right. There were a couple of time penalties in the last race, none that made any properly significant changes in the order. But yeah, the two drivers with penalties, Panzer and Masculi, and also Jakub Lalu has a penalty for his next Super League race. However, he is not on the grid today.
Nice. I'll tell you what, worth a mention. Leon Bock, debut in GPVWC and Super League, beat his far more experienced teammate Tobias Olsen in qualifying as well. So great effort from him as well. Muscat as well, finishing a little bit behind his teammate there, David Feidek as well, but no mean feat whatsoever to qualify 26 ahead of Pellegrini. He's been in the Storm Racing car all season as well. But here we are in the warm-up session. So if you're tuning in, watching this, and I say hello to everyone who is watching this at home. 38 people watching the broadcast so far. Thank you to everyone tuning in. If you're new to GPWC and you think you can take everyone who's racing here today, but you can't get yourself a seat, we have the Academy Series this time next week. We do. Actually, no, I tell a lie. Tuesday. So 6 days' time. We have the Academy race here at Suzuka. 22 laps. And I say if you are fancy taking some GPVWC members on who are fighting for seats elsewhere, maybe for not necessarily this year, but next year, you can do that as well. All you have to do is go onto the website, sign into your account, and you can enter the Academy Series driver market, and that'll be you registered on the grid for the race, which qualifying will start at 7:30 on Tuesday evening UK time. So feel free to sign up to that. I might get bored myself and sign myself. I'm not sure. see how confident I'm feeling, shall we say? If not, on my maybe being the safety behind the camera in the broadcast here as well. But yeah, 30 people signed up so far, so that's really, really good going there. Hopefully, we get a few more on the grid. It's up to 40 cars, so even worth if you're not taking part on the track, you can always take part in the broadcast as well. And then this time on Wednesday, I say we'll have the penultimate round of the Formula Challenge season as well. That's getting really, really tasty, particularly at the top of the championship. We're tuning for that. Always plenty of drama there. And then ITC, I think the penultimate round of ITC takes part in Sonoma as well. That's obviously two divisions there. So plenty to stay, even though we're coming to the end of the season, Caitlin, there's still plenty to chew on, isn't there?
Plenty to chew on indeed, and Super League always provides a good show of racing, always provides action, and it's always, absolutely always, unpredictable. Of course, last week in Singapore, we had a thrilling race, which went down to the final lap between Jordan and Siebel for second place as Bock streaked away to the victory. And Evolution, of course, very nearly threw away a 1-2 finish with a mistake they made in the pits, double stacking their drivers. Things like that can happen at any time with Super League. And even when they don't, we still get furious racing all the way throughout the field. It's like Formula 1, but with 10 more drivers, usually. And that just makes it all the more spectacular. It just gets that extra spectacle, that extra thrill. And I tell you what, the track is about to be alive with engines. When you see those lights coming on at the top of the gantry, and you hear the revs rise, and then you see them extinguish and shoot away, we'll know that we will be in for several laps. Not entirely sure how many laps. I haven't quite checked that yet.
We have got 53.
53 laps of Super League action.
That'd be fantastic. Also the 5 red lights. It just reminds me of you look at the takeaway menu. It's like the 5 chilies. You just get the chilies in hand, and then they just drop them all, and it soon gets spicy after that. So it's hopefully we get some more hot action here this evening. And say any questions, of course, or maybe this is your first time watching a broadcast here at GPVWC, just feel free to ask any questions or just say your predictions in the chat as well. What's going to happen this evening, or maybe your championship predictions as well. You got, Jordan, Dennis Jordan, of course, Yannick Bock and Alex Siegel fighting for the championship. Funny enough, I mentioned that. Obviously, Jordan's third in the championship, Caitlin, here today, but got that pole position, so he's done what he had to do, really. I would say, controlled the race and started from the front.
Yeah, very true. And you have to remember that even though he's third in the championship, he's only 17 points behind Siebel. That means that if Siebel has a bad race, or even Buck has a bad race, because he's only 22 points behind Buck as well, he's going to catch right up there, especially if he takes this win today. So for him, it's important. He will be feeling the pressure, especially with his teammates starting on his tail. We know that there are likely not going to be any team orders within that Evolution team. There very rarely are, and as a result, it's just going to be a flat-out race to the finish. Of course, we're expecting pit stops today. Yesterday in Super League Lights, we had a two-stop strategy for the majority of the drivers. So today in Super League, with an even longer race, I'm wondering whether we might even see three-stop strategies potentially. I expect you probably can do this race on two stops, although whether that's going to be quicker or not is completely up to the drivers. I'd say that it might be, since it is relatively difficult to overtake here at Suzuka. You do have that long straight, but it's coming off a fast corner at Spoon, and it goes into another fast corner as well at 130R. So overtaking here is certainly tricky, as we saw in Super League Lights yesterday, and that's where your strategy is so important to get absolutely right.
So as long as you get a good drive off these corners, I think a lot of long flowing corners, as long as you get a good drive off of them, it's difficult to pass. I say there was a few trains that was made yesterday that frustrate quite a few people, from what I understand. So it's going to be difficult round here. Obviously, got to make use of the straights while you can if you've got that fresh rubber as well. But yeah, 3 rounds to go, and hasn't this year gone quick? I remember Australia, because we had, I think our first pole man was Liam DeVal, wasn't it, in Australia? It's moved on a lot since then, but as I say, 3 minutes to go, and then obviously we'll find out who will take the next step in this championship battle. You don't just bring your A game in here in Super League, you got to bring your A-star game. That is one thing for sure. Rybachuk actually, because it's always a good idea of what race pace is like here, Caitlin, as well. Obviously, Marcin Rybachuk setting the fastest laps so far, 28.9. Leon Buck there in second for YTF1. Now that is interesting as well, because everyone as well today, everyone's done a very predictable strategy on tyre selection of ultra soft, super soft, and soft. So we're not going to get see any medium tyres here at all today. So yeah, it's going to be quite interesting to see. But yeah, Leon Bock there. Obviously, Pansar just jumped to P2 as well. But everyone putting in a front of race preparations. But you don't really see any of the top runners here near the top, which is a bit unusual.
Yeah, a bit of a messed up order there. A bit of a jumbled up order, not messed up. But it definitely does mean that we might have an interesting shake-up of this race. It really depends on who's doing what with this warm-up session here, and who's taking it more seriously than other drivers. Whatever the case, you can't really judge anything from this warm-up session, since it's not an official session and it doesn't directly affect the order of any of the official sessions, and that's why really we have to just wait until the start of the race and see what happens there. But it's fun to fantasize.
Very, very difficult to predict, I will say, these races. I think until the free stop is probably going to be the way to go. I think more people are going to lean towards the free. I reckon round here today, I think it's going to be something like ultras. I think it's going to be like something like ultra super, potentially in some people's cases, if it's for the free stop. I think probably going to be something like ultra soft for the 2 stoppers, around that sort of strategy, but we'll see what plays out. I like to sound what I know I'm talking about.
That's okay. So Super League, of course, is very much like Formula One in the way that the teams individually upgrade their cars over a period of time. They have various number of points which they can put into a various number of different options in terms of development options. Currently, the theoretical fastest car is the ACR Zakspeed car, as driven, of course, by Stefan Rohr, and who's the other ACR driver? Alex
Mr.
Siebel.
Siebel.
Sorry, I don't know how I forgot that. One of our championship contenders, Alex Siebel, of course. So Rohr and Siebel in the ACR. Second most competitive is Adonis, followed by the Epic racing car, which does not at all reflect the championship standings, which currently Evolution, followed by ACR Zakspeed, and then Red Archer. Evolution, of course, has already wrapped up the constructors championship, so really that's just between ACR and Red Archer for second, as it stands. But still, very much the drivers' standings left wide open compared to that.
Really is. Of course, you've got nothing to think about now as we're just about to finish warm up. What are people's plans for next year? What is every team in the career ladder going to be thinking about doing next year? Obviously, everyone's going to be starting planning now. Obviously, Super League teams will try and get their plans sorted probably now, I would say, because there's a lot to plan for next year. Every team on this in the career ladder, we're in all 4 tiers, will be planning to make their moves now. Who is going to be challenging for next year as well? That's what we got to forget as well. Obviously, particularly Super League teams, Super League like teams, they got budgets to play with. It's going to be difficult for them to know exactly what's going to happen next year. Are they trying to fight for survival or fighting for points this year, or are they planning for next year? We don't know. But one thing we do know is there's a race to be started right now. 53 laps to keep us entertained this evening. So just all lining up on the grid. The 3 championship contenders starting at the front of the field. Matches Moose, probably a star of qualifying, I would say. 4th position in the Red Archer there as well. It's the likes of Moose, Fournier and Rialt going to be the jokers in the pack here today. We shall soon find out, as I'm going to now run you down the grid. And first of all, Dennis Jordan taking pole position in car number 27. Stunning job from Dennis. Been really, really impressive all year, and his time to shine regarding this championship battle. He has his teammate alongside him, Yannick Bock, in P2. Alex Siebel for ACR VBM Abruzzi, whatever I'll call it these days. Alex Siebel, P3, reigning champion as well. He's going to have Matthias Moose alongside him. Jeffrey Fournier and Stefan Rolt going to be at row 3. Right Kilk there. And Peder Burlak going to be in row 4. Dan Bruin, Jamala Zapala in row 5. Florian Guy for Red Bull Street Fighter. And Mark Hutchinson makes up row 6. Sergi Harrison, Matthew Milnek make up row 7. Journey Simicic and Robin Panzar, who got a great result last time in Singapore, getting P5. He's starting way down in 16th place. Marcin Rybicek and Danny van der Neet, who's a standing driver for this round, in 18th. That makes it row 9. Kim White, I forgot to mention earlier, he's actually in for Jerome Quickle. And Ryan Elliott, they make up the 10th row of this grid as well. Eros Musculi, who's won a race here already this year in Istanbul. He's going to be all the way down in 21st of his grid penalty. Alex Cooper's going to be alongside him, making up the 11th row. DNLP leader and Michi Hoyer, they make up the 12th row. Both Germans there. Jason Muscat and Leon Bock, P25, P26. Tobias Olsen and David Fiduk making up the row 14 on the grid. And Riccardo Pellegrini make up the final position here in a 29-car field actually here today. I wonder who is missing a driver. I think it's one of the Brazilians. No, we got both Brazilians here today. One car is missing from today's grid. It could actually be. It's not the Mazurek. I wonder
I was just trying to work it out earlier, and I think that, it's the Magcape car. So we only have one Magcape driver here today, being Kian Waite. The other one is missing from the order. Of course, last time out, Madcape, of course, had Noah Chia racing for them alongside Daniel Brewer, but neither of those are here today. So problems at Magcape. But anyway, no problems for Evolution Motorsports. If you line up 1-2, it's going to be Dennis Jordan on his left-hand side of the grid, Yannick Bock on his right-hand side, the inside for turn 1, but slightly further back. And then it's going to be Siebel and Moose on the second row of the grid, hoping to make up positions at the start, followed by the whole of the rest of the pack. Who out of the top 3 drivers is going to finish ahead and get closer to the championship? The top 3 championship contenders are the top 3 in the race so far. David, take us through the start.
It's going to be stunning as well. Pellegrini is starting on the medium tyre as well, and most of the field those on ultra softs. We're now going to find out who is going to make the best strategy calls here. Lombok starting on super softs as the grid is now lined up. 3 rounds to go. The pressure is on all 3 of these championship contenders now, and let's see who's going to be making the best moves here today as all 5 lights are up and they are out. And they head off now towards turn 1. As almost Ryan Elliott losing it there in the background there, but it's a great start there from Dennis Jordan. He leads into turn 1 and they're 3 wide going into the corner. There's a couple of cars running slightly wide, but they all seem to be making it through pretty safely. As I just see at the back of the field there, Dino Pellini's got a stop-go penalty or drive-through penalty already, but both Evolutions lead. Moose has jumped. Siebel's had an awful start. He's down in P6. He's had a terrible launch off the line. He's been bullied down to 6th place behind his teammate. Moose from Fournier, from Rural, from Siebel there. Burlak in 7th. Kilk in 8th position. And everyone's streaming now down towards the Degners for the first time in anger here today.
And there's contact, and both of the YTF1 cars are involved. Both of them spinning, and also Jason Muscat going off in the Degners as well. It looked as if it was going to be a clean first lap because everyone made it through the first couple of corners cleanly, but then suddenly we had 2 spinning YTF1 cars covering the road. I'm not sure if they made contact or not, but Jason Muscat also involved, and I'll have a look back at that in a minute. But whatever, the Evolution cars are still leading this race, followed by Matthias Moose, who's got up into 3rd position, followed by Fournier, and then the 2 ACR cars of Roa and Siebel. And I don't expect Roa will make it too difficult for Siebel if Siebel goes for the move. He knows that Siebel is fighting for the championship. Although of course Roa is here to contend as well, and certainly will want to show that he's in that position to fight for it. But whatever the case, onto the second lap. They stream still in the order that they ran half a lap ago.
So it was both YTF1 cars who's been a little bit ambitious, but into turn 1 they're 3 wide behind. It's really up here for 13th, and Simracing makes that move down inside of the Brasilia car of Milnek there. He's up to 14th. Rybachuk's trying to get past as well. He's trying to capitalise on that move as well, but it was the case incident. Both YTF1 cars misjudged how much slower the field was in front of him, and they sort of come together a little bit, and poor old Jason Muscat was the man to really suffer from that. Spinning off into the gravel, making some sandcastles in the process. Getting back at the front now. Evolution's controlling the race, moves in 3rd. Siebel's going to be a struggle now in 6th, but he's going to probably work together with Rook to come up with some kind of plan to get moved back into the championship fight. Midgie Hoyer there getting very, very close in 21st to Danny Van Der Neek's car. And he's got Ryan Elliott all over the back of him there as well. So everyone's still very, very close. It's on the second lap, of course, now. We all still all very close. Paolini's already taken his drive-through penalty. Very sensible to get that out of the way early. All coming towards 130R once again. No one's getting really close. No one planning to make a move so far. So go into those Casio Triangle once again. They're all braking very, very heavily. And sometimes it's difficult braking, so it's downhill, easy, particularly if you're trying to get close to another car to hit the car in front of you and have an incident as well. But everyone being very, very sensible there as well. And these laps are just going to be tumbling down, Caitlin. You know, it's going to be, as always in Super League races, a very, very close first stint for a lot of these cars.
Yeah, I was wondering why Paolini went into the pits at the end of the first lap. I think he must have jumped the start or something, something like that. Yeah, oh, he did. I just looked back at that. He just started creeping forwards, and it's an easy mistake to make if you miss the clutch or something like that, or just get too over eager. And Paolini is going to end up paying the price for that. Paolini, of course, one of the The fastest drivers from the junior Formula from previous years, of course, he was the 2017 Supercup runner-up, came second in the championship that year, and has done a very good job to get through to Super League as he has done. Hasn't had the best of years so far, although has had 2 top 10 finishes with the best result of 9th. And I would like to point out that I once beat him in a Formula 1 race at Brands Hatch, so booyah.
Nice one. Always good to relive those sorts of memories against your fiercest competitors. Always good to keep that in the old memory bank as well. But everyone's still very, very close in behind. Very much a just formation at this moment in time, like running for the bus almost, a big queue of them, because they're all really, really close together. You know, all sort of chasing the same motive. No one's really making any moves and dives around. It's all very much sticking to the strategy, sticking to the game plan, while people try and sort themselves out and hoping that you don't make a mistake. Ryan Elliott really made a mistake there into turn 1. He ran it onto the curb, but he gathered it all together. He's still just ahead of David Fiduk. Fiduk in this first stint is on the super soft tyre as well. But Pellegrini, actually, he's in 26th place. He's on the mediums. It's going to be interesting to see how far he can go on those tyres. He's the only man to take that decision. The only car, actually, Storm Racing, I was actually wrong earlier. Storm Racing are the only team to bring medium tyres, but everyone else has just gone ultras, softs, and super softs as well. But back at the front there, Jordan leading this race by 9/10.
Still Jordan getting away, but actually only 0.5 of a second between the two of them in that last split. It looks very much like the start of Singapore, doesn't it? With the 2 Evolutions leading away. Hopefully they don't make the same mistake in the pits again. I don't expect that they will. Of course, it didn't end up costing them as much as I thought it might in the end, because they were able to just about hold off Alex Siebel. But anyway, this time it's Matthias Moose chasing them down, and Moose has got Jeffrey Fournier for relatively close company as well. As the rest of the field stream through behind, it's a proper snake of cars at this point in time, to the truest sense of the word. With, for example, you'll see that if one car moves across to try to break the toe of the car behind, they all start to follow to get that slipstream, and you end up with a real sneaking chain of cars. What's happened?
Oh, and I see Fiduk was making the move on Ryan Elliott there into turn 1, but got a bit of contact and got onto the curb, David Fiduk. But they got away with it, thankfully. And Fiduk's got Twice Olsen all in his rear view mirrors as well from that. But luckily, no harm, no foul. Everyone's still maintaining their positions. Ryan Elliott there in 23rd. I say everyone as far back as Jason Muscat. So everyone apart from poor old Dino Paolini who jumped the start, everyone's in some kind of battle, which is really, really good to see. Obviously on this 5th lap here of this race, we're just about to be 10% done of this race already. It soon flies by. Really, really fast circuit is Suzuka's, so we ain't going to be too long tonight. Not Monza levels of speed by any means, but this is going to be a pretty quick race nonetheless.
Yeah, the thing about Suzuka is that it's a very fast circuit, although most of that is fast corners, such as in the S's, such as 130R, such as the run up to Spoon and Spoon itself, which of course means it's relatively difficult to follow the car in front, as ideally with fast circuits you want it to be quite a lot like Monza, where it's fast, long straights, followed by tight chicanes and corners like that, whereas with Suzuka, if you hold your line and don't make many mistakes, you're making it very, very tricky for the car behind to keep up with you and to follow you, which is why any mistakes in either the strategy or in your driving are going to cost you so much, and that's what really keeps races like this exciting. A lot of people call for race circuits like this to be removed from the calendar because they say it's boring just watching cars going around in single file, but I say that in that case, you don't really know what you're looking for. What you really need to feel with races like this is the tension of having every single car in the field as a chain, such as this one, And if one driver makes the slightest of mistakes, just touches the curb wrong and gets sucked off, suddenly you have everyone on top of each other and everything explodes. So this is going to be one of those tense races, I expect, where it's all about just not making those mistakes. And as soon as we get to the strategy window, as soon as we get to the first of 2, maybe 3 pit windows, that's when it's all going to start getting very, very interesting. That's when we're going to start seeing who's got it right, who is going to have to drop back, and who's got work on their hands to do in the late stages of the race.
Well, someone who's got work to do at the moment is Tobias Olsen. He's just been passed by Riccardo Pellegrini as he ran wide from 130R, but Pellegrini makes the move on Olsen. He gets very, very squiggly under power as well in that YTF1 car. Also, David Foddock made the move on the previous lap on Ryan Elliott into turn 1. But looking further back now, this is the 25th. Tobias Olsen trying to make the move back. And he gets past, but he shoves Pellegrini off a little bit there. As both of the other cars there, Muscat and Yannick and Leon Bock there, also make the position up. So Pellegrini goes back down the order, back down to 28th.
Back down to 28th, indeed. That's unfortunate there for Pellegrini. The Storm Racing driver has not had the best race of it so far, although I suppose if it's any consolation to him, I do think the Storm car has the best livery on the grid, so there's that, I suppose. Whatever the case, has to make his way back past the other drivers. He's got Leon Bock in front of him, and then Jason Muscat splitting the 2 YTF1 cars as it stands, who will also be trying to come through the order as quickly as possible. He's losing a lot of time there as you see him dropping further and further back from Ryan Elliott. And I should say, actually, we saw Ryan Elliott having a massive slide at the start of the race. He did very, very well to hold that, because I tell you what, if that had been any of the lesser drivers or one of the younger drivers, not that I mean, Elliott is one of the youngest drivers in the field, but still, if it had been a less experienced driver, I'm sure that there would have been a huge accident before they'd even crossed the start line.
Well, I say, that's the thing about Super League. Everyone's very, very highly skilled. Even the people at the back of the field, they are no slouches whatsoever. Just can't develop in measurements between them. Speaking of the back of the field, Jason Muscat in 25th. He's making the move around the outside of Tobias Olsen now into 25th in the Hawkeye. And contact further behind us. Pellegrini gets the shoulders out there on Leon Bock. He's giving it out because he's taken it in the previous lap on a YTF1 car. He's back up to 27th. Box staying the new boy, of course. He's been shown the ropes there by Pellegrini well and truly in that particular corner. Back down in 28th there, Pellegrini getting his shoulders out there as well in the Storm Racing car. There's even at the back of the field having a great old tussle. Further up the field a little bit, we've got Eros Musculi in 19th. He's all the back now of Kian White in the Soul Madcape car as he looks to move down the inside into Spoon. Can't do it there, unfortunately. Line's too tight, can't get the run through the corner. Kian White actually gets a good run out of Spoon. Now down this back straight again towards 130R once again.
So another lap done for the leading trio. Matthias Moose, 1.666 behind Jordan. Just wanted to point that out for obvious reasons. As behind, Fournier and Roa getting closer and closer. And I tell you what, Roa's going to have a go here to the outside. Around the outside into turn 1, Fournier breaks later and sweeps back through into 4th place. That's the first opportunity that we've seen Roa have there. And it may well be that we have an ACR car in the top 4 very, very soon, unless Fournier can pull it together.
So these three, they're up the road, they're pulling away. They're not messing around, are they, at all? Because between Moose and Fournier, 2.7 seconds. Now Fournier's going to try and do his damnedest to get away now. He's one of these drivers who can put on about 5 or 10 hot laps in a row and really set the racetrack on fire, can't he? Sometimes, when he's really in the mood and really on form. But it's going to be running and running. The people really are running at the minute. It's at the front. They are just not messing around. Moose doing really, really good job to keep in contact with the 2 Evolutions at the front. You've got to say, tailing for Evolution at the moment, they're controlling the race and they're in cruise control as well in their minds as well.
Totally. As I said earlier, it is so much like Singapore in the way that they're going about it. And they may even be working together here to keep the rest of the field back, because they don't want to have to stretch their legs just yet. They want to keep those tyres fresh for as long as possible, I expect. They're on the ultra soft tyre. In fact, the only driver who isn't is Riccardo Pellegrini, who amazingly is only on the white wall tyre. So that's the hardest tyre possible to bring to this track. And everyone else on and through. That's team orders there. The two ACR drivers have swapped with Royal, giving Siebel the place. He's basically saying, well, I tried to get past Fournier, now you have a try. And Siebel is going to go after the Epic Racing driver, I expect.
It's very much after you, team leader. After you, champ. And Siebel's now going to hopefully give Fournier a bit of a sweat in the next few laps, as Fournier would have seen the switch. Siebel on his merry way now in a bit of clear air for now. Interestingly enough, David Feidick's actually on the super softs as well. Actually, he's the only man on those tyres. That's what he started on with. He is currently down in 23rd place, so obviously not where he would want to be, but where that car is development-wise at the moment, that's all they can really expect. They can't really expect miracles. They've struggled since that pole in Australia. They've just been declining so much this year. That just goes to show, Caitlin, car development is king in this series.
Yeah, who was that, sorry?
Feidick.
David Feidick. Feidick, I'm afraid, has not had a great time of it recently. He's in the Hawkeye. I seem to remember someone saying that he tested a faster car recently, and it went something like a second faster over a lap. So, Feidick in the Hawkeye having a pretty tough time of it. And currently running down in 23rd position. Of course, last time out at Singapore, he was the only driver to go off on the first lap of the race. And it wasn't his fault. It looked like something possibly cut out. Maybe just lost power to his steering wheel or something like that. It was definitely a technical or mechanical issue that forced Feidick into the barriers on the first lap of the race. And he did recover to the race, although finished something like 5 or 6 laps down. And will be pretty disappointed with that. Of course, he started the season with ACR and had a best result of 4th place at Azerbaijan, but the two-time champion then got demoted to Hawkeye. I say that with all due respect to Hawkeye. Of course, they do a great job. They just haven't been able to develop the car quite as well as some of the other teams. And Feidick, I'm afraid, has not had a podium since, I'm not sure if he got one last year, but 2017 I think was probably his last competitive year.
Well, running wide there, Robin Panzer on the Red Bull Street Fighter. He's in 17th, not for long, because Kieran White and Mascoli's made a move. He ran wide going into the second part of Spoon Corner and loses 2 positions as a result. So for Panzer, not the sort of result that he was probably anticipating after his heroics at Singapore 2 weeks ago.
Robin Panzer there, not having a great time there either in the Red Bull Street Fighter car. Red Bull does tend to be a car that goes very well here in Formula 1 in real life at Suzuka. However, not so much luck in Super League. It's just up ahead there. That's White going at it with Masciuli, and Masciuli going sideways, and Panzer is going to get back through there into 18th position.
It's Masculi making the move down the inside. Couldn't make it stick. It was a very, very tight line from Masculi actually there as well. And I saw that move coming. I thought, there might be a bit of contact here, and there it was. But the Italian doing a great job to save it as well. I was expecting him to spin it as soon as I saw that contact, but no. Skills of an multiple race winner here in GPVWC on show for free, actually. We didn't even pay for that. It's great. Florian Gaia in the other Red Bull Street Fighter in 11th place, outshowing his teammate actually here today. And for Florian Gaia, a decent run. He's got Mark Hutchison in the first of the flags. Right behind him, both flags chasing down that Red Bull Street Fighter car as well. Back at the front, status quo. Dennis Jordan 1.5 seconds ahead from Bok, who's over 1.5 seconds ahead of Matches Moose. And Fournier is trying to get the hammer down now, trying to close down on Moose, but it's not really happening. It's very much status quo as far as the gap's concerned. But Mr. Siebel is on the march. He's closing down that gap to the Frenchman ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say it's status quo, but we do still have plenty of drivers up there with the DRS, which is going to help them to stick with the driver in front and possibly set them up for a move later on, or also set them up for an undercut in the strategy stage. Sorry.
Panzar's off again. He's run wide. Sorry to cut you off there, but Panzar's run wide again. But this time at turn 1. The Van der Neek behind actually got past as well. But Panzar making another error, and again going back down at 19th place.
Yeah, just got on the curb there, and that cost him the whole corner. So off into down into 19th position he goes again, with Masciuli up to 18th. And I tell you what, Masciuli won't appreciate that position that much, because he is a race winner, and for him 18th position doesn't exactly feel like success. But I'm sure he's going to be hard charging later on. It may just be that his car doesn't go well.
And there's been a crash.
Track.
There's been an accident, sorry, can cut you off, but Ryan Elliott has had a free trip to the barrier, out of the Degner. He just rode the curb under power and into the barrier on the inside wall. Off goes the front wing, so Red Archer front wing will have to be ordered for express delivery into the pit lane for the Brit to get that repaired. In his first race in Super League this year, it's not gone as planned. One thing that was planned.
Sorry.
Box lost his front wing as well. YTF1 has lost his front wing. Where has he done that?
Leon Bock. I thought you said Yannick.
No, Leon's had where did he lose his front wing there?
A couple of drives into the pits, Masciuli and Cooper. But yeah, let's have a look back at exactly what happened to Leon Bock.
He lost it. He lost it going into the corner before the. It's
Dunlop, isn't it? Yeah. He just got it on the grass and off he went. Yeah. They say that YTF1 has the worst luck in the history of GPVWC. It's a kind of superstition that they're cursed. Although definitely seeming to be the case this season, and especially today. Of course, they came together on the first lap of the race after misjudging the pack in front of them. And now we've had another incident for Leon Bock. So I'm afraid it doesn't look like YTF1 are going to be able to score their first points of the season today. And if they're going to, it's got to come in the last 2 races of the season. However, next time out, of course, we're going to go to Kota, which is one of the least predictable circuits that there are. So who knows, I suppose.
Leon Bock comes back out. The first planned pit stop of the day actually was from his teammate Tobias Olsen. He's on the soft compound. Watch out for him. First guy to make what I call a proper pit stop, or a planned pit stop here today. So he might do a little bit of an undercut on some of the cars ahead of him. Dennis Jordan out the front, just pulled away, hasn't he? Look at that, just miles out in front now on his own. He's built up the gap 2.8 seconds now ahead of his fellow championship leader and country compatriot Yannick Bock as well. Matches moves there as well, still keeping close attendance as well from the championship leader. Let's say Siebel.
I think I know why that is. It's because as soon as he lost the DRS there, as soon as he dropped to below 1 second behind, suddenly he didn't have that benefit down the straights anymore, and he started to drop back more and more. So that's the importance of staying in that buffer. And the same things happened actually with Matthias Moos, because he's dropped out of that buffer as well, and now he's dropping back to Bock. And so is Fournier in 4th position, and Fournier looks as if he might come under attack soon from Alex Siebel. Of course, he was under attack from the other ACR car not too long ago before they switched to give Siebel, the championship contender, 2nd place at the minute, provisional runner-up, a go at attacking Geoffrey Fournier. And Siebel does have the DRS, and he's going to open it right about now. Actually, he's not going to open it right about now. I really thought that he would. But anyway, and he is sticking within that 1 second buffer of Geoffrey Fournier. And actually looks to have got a better run, and that's because Fournier is coming into the pits. So Geoffrey Fournier in the Epic car, he's the first driver from the top 5 to make a pit stop. I'm expecting the other drivers from the top 5 to come in soon as well. Germano Zapala comes in, so does Mark Hutchinson, and probably some more drivers behind as well.
And Simonchik's making the move down the inside of Sergio Carras. He's up to a provisional P10 there for the first of the Green Stripes car here today. Made a nice little move on the inside. It was very, very comfortable. It wasn't one of those sort of lunges down the inside. He already got the move done, which was really, really nice. Fournier there comes out 19th. He's on super softs. Zapala comes out on soft comp rubber. He's in 20th Hutchinson also on soft rubber in 21st ahead of Paolini, who of course had the drive-through penalty early on. Down the straight, of course, now with the damaged cars that we had to buy. Olsen's had another off.
Yeah,
at the Casio Triangle.
Sergio Heras has just also had an off. He's been into the gravel, and that means that Maciej Winnick's up into 11th place. So Heras, who lost the place to Simončić earlier this lap, has just lost another one through his own mistake. And actually, Simončić looks as if he may have a go at Gaia by the end of this lap as well. He's so much closer than he was. And suddenly it seems that Simončić had a real turn of pace here for some reason, and I wonder whether it's less that and more that that Gaia has wasted his tyres and he's going to be into the pits this time around. And Simončić obviously sees that Gaia is struggling for grip, dives up the inside. That's a hugely brave manoeuvre into 130R. Gaia has to go off the road there because he didn't see him until late, and he comes into the pits, as do Buck, Moose, Ruhr and Brewer. So several of the front runners in. Heras is in, Rybacik is in, White is in, and we're still waiting for Buck, Siebel, Brilliak, Kilk, Simončić and several other competitive drivers as well. And let's see where Siebel, where Ruhr and Moose come out. Buck has actually come out ahead of Moose by a bigger margin than they went in, separated by, if that makes sense. And actually, they're separated there by David Feiduk, who's yet to stop. So that's going to end up costing Moose, I'd say. And Ruhr appears to have lost time as well. They've got Geoffrey Fournier in between them. He was there before, although I think that gap has definitely come out.
Yes, it has. And so definitely going to be the 2-stop today because of, say, lap 16 as well. And we also did see Yannick Bock coming onto super soft tyres as well. Matthias Moose also doing the same today. So definitely the 2-stop here today. Now, Geoffrey Fournier has actually come out really close to Matthias Moose as well. The gap now less than a second now. There's a much bigger gap than that before. See, Moose is obviously Fournier was one of the first to come in, so the undercut here, Caitlin, seems to be the way to go so far, at least.
Yeah, you're right. He's back in DRS range. As into the pits now come Jordan and Brilliak. So the race leader is in, followed by Brilliak and Simončić, meaning that Siebel now leads this race. He has stayed out, as has Kilk and Winnick. And Robin Panzer is going to go up to 4th place and all of that as well. Mitchie Hoyer up to 5th, despite not having a great race so far. He's going for a longer stint on the initial set of ultra softs that he started on. Jordan's come out in the lead. That's the gap between him and Buck has come down slightly, I'd say, in all of that. And Moose, Fournier, Brilliak. Brilliak has come right ahead of Ruhr there.
He has indeed. So
wait, did Brilliak pit? Yeah, I think he did, didn't he?
So we'll find out in seconds. So Siebel leads. He's leaded by 5 seconds from Kilk. Milnick in 3rd. I say yet to pit. Panzer in 4th, again yet to pit as well. Richie Hoyer, Dennis Jordan there, the first man who's pitted. He's in P6. His fellow compatriot German ahead of him up the road, and behind him, of course, Yannick Bock. Feiduk in 8th. Moves there in 9th. Now to some searing pressure now from Geoffrey Fournier in 10th. Burlak, Brewer, Sapala, and Hutchinson round up the rest of the points positions. So it's really, obviously these pit stops shaking things up a little bit. Let's say 2 stops the way to go. Now, I'm just thinking I'm going to be finishing lap 18 as now Siebel pits. I was thinking, will he do a shorter run here on the super softs? I think, because it's definitely going to be, I reckon it's going to be 2 lots of ultras and a set of supers. I think he's going to put supers on now and do like maybe a 15 or 16 lap sprint here till the end of the race. So supers goes on the car. Already, both of the evolutions have passed the pits. Siebel comes back out. There's fighting cars ahead. They've got 3 wide.
It's Fournier and Moose. Fournier tried to go for Moose there. That's because they just fought their way past David Feiduk and all of that. They went almost 3 wide down the straight, and Fournier very nearly had a chance to attack Moose for what would effectively be 3rd place in the race. Of course, I know they're not in 3rd on the track at the minute, but it's so close. Siebel now gets past Feiduk as well. Feiduk doing a longer stint on the red rubber, and as a result losing places there. But what a close bit of racing there between Moose and Fournier. And I tell you what, Siebel has come out behind both of them.
Yes, so lost out there. But I think now So Seabor's going to really push hard on these super softs because you think you can get to about lap 35 on these tyres, which he should be able to do. He could probably make a pit stop onto ultras there if he wanted to, because he did 18 laps on those ultra soft tyres to start with. So it's going to be interesting to see when they pit, but I reckon at latest would be at that 38, just to get 15 laps on those ultras at the end of the race. And here comes Right Kilp. He's going to be bolting into the pits now. He's inherited the race lead, of course, after staying out really long. 19 laps on those ultra softs at the start. Really impressive stuff to get those tyres that far. Panzer as well in the pits as well for Red Bull Street Fighter. But now it's back to normal at the front. Dennis Jordan.
Fiduk spinning into the pits. Fiduk has been hit from the rear. Daniel Brewer was trying to pass him. Obviously didn't know he was going into the pits. So Fiduk, when he slowed to go into the pits, effectively brake checked Daniel Brewer, not trying to apportion any blame onto either of them, and around went Fiduk. That's going to cost him a lot, including his front wing, so he's going to have to replace that as well.
Will he repair the wing? Because he may not have set it when he originally pitted, as there's a Mazurek car. Marcin Rubicek is pulled into his pit garage, and it's going to be the first retirement of the race. But I wonder if Fiduk's going to actually repair his car. Yeah, he has put the front wing on the car. Thankfully, he's done that, and he's down in now P25. So race ruined there after. So unfortunate for him. He's put on super softs as well on the car. He obviously prefers those tyres. Out in P26 as well, behind the likes of Olsen and Paolini as well. So unfortunate stuff there. I think also, yeah, Rubicek's out. So it's 28 runners in this race as well. And Siebel's Moose there in third. He's come out obviously well behind the two Evolution cars. But here's Alex Siebel now, second stint now for the German and the reigning champion. Is this now the time where he starts to get quite offensive in his attack of the two in front of him? We'll see.
4-car chain coming down towards turn 1 here. 4 drivers with the DRS. Close between Moose, Fournier, Siebel, Brelyak, even Royal getting involved there as well. And I tell you what, I'm not quite sure how Brelyak jumped up so many positions. He came out to the pits ahead of Royal. I'm pretty sure he was quite a lot further back before that. So Brelyak there has made up some time somewhere. And I wonder whether he pitted, he pitted on lap 18. Whereas Raw was lap 17, so I wonder whether that 1 lap longer on the Ultrasoft tyre just gave him some kind of overcut, or maybe it was that Raw made a mistake somewhere. Whatever the case, Brelyak definitely a lot closer to the cars in front of him than he was before, and he's now within DRS range of Alex Siebel.
Don't count Raw as well. Obviously, Raw's there to help his team out a little bit, but he's going to be trying to mix it with these boys at the front as well. 3rd to 7th, all in a good little line of cars. Brewer trying to keep up these guys as well as Sapala, Kilt, Hutchison and Simoncic as well. They're all sort of a bit about 1 second apart from each other, so all very, very exciting stuff. I just see Kim White running a little bit wide on the approach to Spoon Corner. He's in 17th position as we speak. I say no one's really trying to fight or make any manoeuvres and setting anybody up to make a pass at this present stage. It's all very much lining each other up at the moment as well. But back at the front there, you just see Fournier now starting to put the pressure on the Frenchman at the front of the field. Not the Frenchman. The Frenchman putting the pressure on Matthias Moose in the Red Archer car as well.
You know what, David? We are on lap 22 of the race, and still the top 12 are separated by 14 seconds. That's actually really, really impressive. It just shows you how much of a close race it is. We're still very much in a chain here, and that's also why strategy is so important this race. Probably more than in any other race of the calendar, if I can say something so bold. But whatever the case. That's why we're seeing big changes like Brelyak jumping up to 6th place, and that's why people who have had tough times so far are dropping back so much compared to how much they normally would do. And that's also why David Fiduk, I'm afraid, is down into 25th place now.
I say one mistake and you're going to be tumbling down the order, but also gets a bit of a nightmare actually for any strategist as well that's involved, because as the field's so close, you're trying to find a bit of clear air for your pit stop. It's going to be very, very difficult indeed, because everyone's in one big train pretty much. So you go across the line one more time. It's about third, shaping up to be more of a free car battle now. And I think now Siebel's put away from Brillac, and Fournier now lining up again all over the rear wing now of Matthews Moose ahead as well. Siebel trying to close in. But this sector 1 here, Caitlin, very, very difficult to follow the car ahead. So they all spread out a little bit through this section, don't they? Because it's just that dirty air effect on these cars.
Florian Guy just passed Sergi Eras for 14th position down into the chicane. I thought it was going to happen sometime sooner or later, since Eras is on the harder and slower theoretically set of rubbers. There was slight wheel-to-wheel contact between the two of them, but they got away with it. Mark Hutchinson also on the yellow rubbers has Zapala and possibly a few other drivers further back as well. So a variety of strategies going on, and a couple of drivers losing time behind theoretically slower cars. And of course, just because you're slower than someone else in this race doesn't necessarily mean you're on a worse strategy, or that you're going to be slower in the grand scheme of things, because different people are going to have the advantage at different points in the race, which, as you said, creates a real headache for strategists. For example, Alex Siebel here is stuck solid behind Jeffrey Fournier as he looks left and right, but can't find a way to go through. And the more time he spends there, the longer he's spent with the drivers ahead being able to pull away from him and gain that gap, and that may end up costing him to the Evolution drivers that he's fighting so hard in terms of the championship.
Even further back as well, you had Sapala trying to make a move on the Estonian right kilt, but didn't make the move down as well. Very difficult at this stage of the race, only 23 laps gone, not even halfway yet at this race. Very tricky to work out, who's going to make progress or not. I think this dirty air is going to really affect the tyre wear as well if you follow another car as well, particularly through sector 1. Even corners like the Degners as well. Very tricky, because you take a lot of speed into Degner. Have to turn, brake, lift, and then brake, another heavy braking bit for the Degner 2 as well. And you take a lot of speed into it as well. I think a lot of people are taking it in 3rd, 4th gear through Degner 2 as well. So these tyres do get nice and warm. You can definitely maybe cook some bacon on those tyres. That is one thing for sure. 2.5 seconds now, the gap between Jordan and Yannick Bott, the two of the 3 title contenders. Let's say about 22 points. So one mistake, and it's very easy to do in these cars. And how these guys don't make any more mistakes, I don't know. They put thousands of laps of practice during the year, of course. Speaking of practice, Siebel's had plenty of practice making that sort of move over the years. He's gone up to pass Jeffrey Fournier up into P4.
I wasn't expecting it to work there. Of course, the chicane is sometimes an overtaking opportunity, but it's just too tight, too slow. And Fournier is coming back through with the DRS with the overspeed, and he makes it stick. And that is going to be so frustrating from Siebel, because he would have been congratulating himself for what was, quite frankly, a thrilling overtake. But it meant that he had an awful run onto the straight, and Fournier just had so much pace as they flew down towards turn 1, and he's got the maneuver back again. And I tell you what, that was crucial for Fournier there in the battle with Siebel, because I have no doubt that Siebel would have done his best to be long gone after Fournier there has bought himself a bit more time.
I'll say, how important is that for the Evolution guys as well? Fournier with the DRS, of course, because of course he's behind in the DRS line as well when it was after the move was done from Siebel. How much progress would Siebel have made if he stayed ahead of Fournier? But now Fournier's back ahead. He's staying ahead as well. He's about 7/10 ahead of the reigning champion at the moment. So it just shows you the straight line speed potential at Epic Racing Car as well. Down his straights as well. Siebel trying to line himself up again into the Casio Triangle. He's out 130R. Can he make it? No, he's not. He's just gonna. I think he's actually going to try and set himself up here down this straight. There's the DRS protection line. It's around the final curve.
Problems for
corner.
Daniel Brewer. Sorry to interrupt there. Brewer's in the gravel, and he was racing hard with Stefan Rohr, and it looks like they just locked wheels going through the chicane. Oh, and Rohr bounced over the sausage curb. That's what forced Brewer back into the gravel. He's now been passed by Riot Kilk for 8th position, and that's going to cost both of them quite a bit of time there.
Siebel's through. Siebel went through into turn 1 as well. Just got that off camera, but Siebel did pass 3 of DRS. He's up
Gyro
to
and
4.
Masculi have come together. Sorry for the interruption. Gyro and Masculi were fighting over the final points paying position in 15th, and they just locked wheels. That was like a hook as they went through turn 1. Both of them spun off. Both of them hit the wall. Actually, Gyro avoided the wall. Masculi smashed off his front wing, and both of them are going to be losing a lot of time as well. Sorry for interrupting you so much recently.
That's fine. I'd say that was almost elements of the way they went off the track, at least a bit of Prost and Senna, at least. You know, they went very early off into the gravel.
The only difference there is that Senna. Yeah, the only difference there is that Senna did it deliberately. But anyway,
the way they went off, it was very similar, at least. But no, that's a trip to the pits, at least there for the Edonis and the Italian Eros Masculi as well. Florian Gaia there in 21st now after that. You know, painful. You know, it's always difficult to bounce back from something like that when you're fighting in the points, maybe the last scraps, and it looks promising, and something like that happens when it's not 100% your fault. It's very difficult to take. So difficult for those guys, but everyone's still in this midfield battle, even all the way down to 13th place. They're all in this long line of cars, still trying to make position and trying to out-strategize and out-position one another as well.
So that means that Siebel can now start to stretch his legs and approach Matthias Moos. And I tell you what, he's already in DRS range of Moos there. So he's going to be gaining time down the straight. And we've seen that Siebel can make overtaking manoeuvres. He definitely could on Fournier. Now he's got to do it on Matthias Moos, who may be quite a tough nut to crack. Moos, of course, has a Red Archer car below his feet. Red Archer, of course, already have 3 victories this season. Of course, with meanwhile, I'm afraid we've lost Florian Gaia from the race. He has DNF'd. I'm just going to have a look back at...
He pulled in the pits and said, I've had enough, pretty much. Yeah.
That would have been after his accident with Masculi. Just decided he'd had enough. And I tell you what, Masculi's just done exactly the same thing.
They both pulled in the pits together and thought, nah, I'm not having this. No more for me today. They are both out of the race, of course. Being so far back, it's difficult to motivate yourself to carry on.
And here comes Siebel. Siebel's going to go to the inside of Moos into turn 1. And that's going to work. There he goes. Siebel to the inside, makes the move stick. Matthias Moos can do nothing about it. And that is why Siebel is the reigning champion.
And now for Siebel, it's time to bring that A-star game. He's 5 seconds behind Bok. A long way to catch up. We're just over halfway through this race now. It's game on. But expect to see... I mean, Siebel's already set the fast lap of this race, 28.1. Expect to knock that time down with a very large sledgehammer now, I reckon. I think you're going to be seeing 27s comfortably here from the ACR Vaudeville driver. Getting away from Moos already. Fournier now trying to sniff out a potential pass on the Red Archer ahead. Closing that gap down, but very, very quick straight line spin in the Epic car I've noticed today.
I have 2 major what-if points here. The first of which being Siebel lost a lot of time at the start, dropping behind all of those drivers, and then lost even more time trying to get back past them. What if Siebel had got a good start? Would he be leading the race right now? Honestly, there's no way of saying. That's why it's a what if. And my other one is what if Fabio Sixto was racing, because we've seen that the Red Archer car is very, very quick today. Matthias Moos is running in 4th position. Admittedly, it looks as if Jeffrey Fournier is about to attack him, but still, definitely the Red Archer looking competitive. And Moos's teammate Fabio Sixto is the driver who's won all 3 of Red Archer's wins so far this series. So what if he was racing? Would he be leading the race right now? Again, no way of telling.
One thing we can say for sure is Siebel already has bolted 1.7 seconds up the road from Moos, but the gap is actually, I think, being pulled away from the... I think they've realised now, the Evolutions, that Siebel has got past. They would know that. Time for them to get up the road a little bit. The gap now still around that sort of 5-second mark between Siebel and Bob. I think Siebel's still going to be on a push That is one thing for sure. Burlak, P6 as well. He's been very quietly going about his business, but he's been following Fournier's every move since the pit stop. And
yeah, we've got a three-car chain there, because we've got Moose leading from Fournier and Brilliac, and it's clear that Moose is struggling a little bit at this stage in the race. He's definitely dropping lap times compared to Siebel and Fournier, and that's allowing Brilliac to get onto the back of Fournier as well. So if they're going to make a move, who's going to do it first, Fournier or Brilliac? That may end up having a real implication on the finishing order of this race, because Fournier and Brilliac, of course, are fighting for 4 positions effectively in the order, as is Moose. And Fournier, they're definitely showing himself to Moose's rear-facing mirrors. Not that any mirrors aren't rear-facing. Heading into turn 1. Sorry, I went a bit wonky with my words there.
It's all right, not as wonky as some of the damaged cars that's out there at the moment. A few people have had some rough moments and incidents today, but still going on regardless. 3 retirements of the race, of course. The first one was Marcin Bubishuk of the Mazurek team, just pulled in the pits. Said no more. Likewise, Florian Guy and Errol Ski, they had a coming together, and then on that lap they decided to come in the pits and call it a day as well. So they're the 3 retirements. Fournier back at his back for 4th place. He's still got the magnets on. Matthias Moose here as well. They're pulling in, turning into Spoon Corner, getting the drive out of the corner. I think Moose got a great run actually out of there. Very, very important. I always find that corner, because it's difficult to get right. If you get a good drive, it makes it very, very difficult for the car behind to get a run down the straight.
Fournier getting closer. Is he going to attempt a Siebel dive? Surely not. Only Siebel can pull off a move quite that brave. But Fournier hanging in behind Moose as it stands. I should point out, of course, Superleague is one of the cleanest race series in Simracing. Watch Fournier here going to the inside of Moose, making it stick. Very, very, very nicely done. Very clean. He's through into 4th position, but as I was about to say, of course, you can be the bravest driver in the world. Sorry, you can be the cleanest driver in the world, and you can go and make a perfectly sensible overtake on someone, and they can turn in on you and take you off. But not in Super League. That doesn't tend to happen. You can put so much trust in the other drivers around you. Because, of course, everyone here is so good, so experienced, so clean, and that's why you see fantastic overtaking maneuvers, such as the one that we saw just now from Alex Siebel, or the moves we've seen earlier on as well from Simončić and some of the other drivers in this field. Because if you tried that in some other sim racing championships, I guarantee that your opponent would turn in on you and take you both off. That just doesn't happen here, especially at the front of the field.
It's a shame we can't say that about the other series. Some
Yeah.
people won't thank me for saying that. But that's the truth at the end of the day. You know, we've had a few rough races this year, but let's not dwell on that at all. But one thing I was going to mention about Fournier's overtake, that car's got plenty of mumbo down the straights, you know, really, really fast in a straight line. They set this up with, I think, quite a low drag setup today. And it's really working well for Fournier in attack and in defence as well. You know, you just see down there, Moose had the DRS and Fournier and didn't close in an inch. So looking really, really good. But look at this. Speaking of inches, they're inches apart between Hutchinson and Milnek. About for 13th, 12th and 13th. Milnek makes the move around the outside of Hutchinson. That deserves replay, I think, if we get to chance, because that was very, very close, rubbing wheels and touching panels down the front straight. They got really right in each other's sides there.
Ooh, Hoyer losing some time. I think Michi Hoyer just made a mistake. Oh, indeed, he had a big spin. So Michi Hoyer there, who was already running outside of the points, running over the curb, had a little bobble, must have caught a bump in the curb, and around he went into the gravel, had to reverse it out. And these cars aren't great in reverse, so he would have lost a lot of time in all of that. Although wasn't really on for points anyway. Top 15 score points in Super League races. It's not like Formula 1 where it's only the top 10, and that's partially, of course, because we have a much larger grid than in Formula 1. So to keep it competitive, we have a much larger point scoring buffer as well, as Broliak there very nearly gets past Matthias Moose and all of that, talking of points.
Say Moose is on the defensive once again. He's looking more in his rear mirrors at the moment than he is looking forward. And Burlak's trying to make the move around the outside, gets the upper ground and makes that move stick as well. P5 for Burlak and Edge Esports, down to 6th position. Matthias Moose there. It's strange, because he was looking so good earlier on in the first, and it's just kind of all fallen apart in the second a little bit. It's just not been. It's almost like his brother's in the car.
He was really sticking with Yannick Barkeller in the race, and ever since then he's just started to drop back. I should also point out, I don't know who Matthias Moose's brother is, although no disrespect meant to him, of course. Whatever the case, Matthias now is in 6th position, and actually dropped back a long way in that sector too, so possibly struggling a little bit at this stage in the race. It might be something to do with the strategy. He might just be trying to go for a much longer stint. He may also be trying to save fuel, potentially. But whatever the case, I think Stefan Rohr is going to be on top of them in a matter of laps.
Really can, I think, obviously, what is Rohr's lap times like? I think he's getting slightly faster than Moose ahead. I say we get lap 33 now, just about starting 34th lap. It's time for people now to start thinking about their pit stops, what lap they're going to pit, because I think sort of lap between 35 and 38, people are going to start making their moves in the pits. These times can last longer than that. I think they sort of last probably about sort of 42, 43 if people really wanted to. Might see 1 or 2 people try that, but let's say we saw 18 laps or 19 laps in some people's cases, and all starts on the start in the first stint. And we're just looking at Yuni Simoncic here. I've just seen the P10 he's up to now, past Gamala Sipala. So green stripes there into the top 10. He's now got Leon Bock ahead of him. He's obviously a lap down in his debut. Milnek now is going to be the next car, trying to get past the Italian in the Edens Engineering car as well. Hutchinson and Harris following suit, 13th and 14th. Keaton White actually now in the Sol Madcake car. He's in the last of the points positions as well. And just see Michi Hoyer actually down in 19th, trying to make the move on Paolini into turn 1, but failing to do so.
Yeah, spun behind Paolini just a couple of laps ago, of course, trying to make the move back past him again. And also, I tell you what, Peter Broliak is caught right up to the back of Jeffrey Fournier in all of that, as I see Rodrigo Carvalho chanting Fournier on in the YouTube chat. So obviously we have a Frenchman fan there. I don't mean that Rodrigo's French or anything, but you know what I mean. Peter Broliak chasing him down towards the Casio Triangle. This is the closest that he's been for a very, very long time in this race. In fact, for the entire race, because of course Broliak's someone who started further down and has been coming through the pack, and he's going to have a chance here, and this should be it for Peter Broliak. Up the inside of Fournier into turn 1, makes it stick, gets the car turned in time, done and dusted, as into the pits comes Stefan Rohr.
On the march, isn't he, Broliak? He's really been on form since the first round of pit stops, and he's took his time, but he's been decisive when needed to, and he's lost about 5 seconds on Siebel, but he's on the march, and he's actually also set the fastest lap in this race at 28.0 as well. So the Quasar powered, not the most powerful engine in the field, that's one thing for sure. They haven't had much success this year. CRG Sports have won a round earlier this year. It's not been a great engine, but Alex Cooper, as soon as I mentioned fastest lap, Alex Cooper doing the fastest lap, 27.9 there for the Green Stripes car as well.
That's because he's just gone on to no, he hasn't just gone on to Ultrasoft tyres. He's been on those for something like 7 or 8 laps now. So I'm not actually sure why he's set first lap there. He doesn't even have a significant slipstream. Just very, very first lap for Alex Cooper in the Green Stripes car, which we wouldn't expect to set fastest lap, with all due respect to Green Stripes. That's an unexpected turn of events, but obviously he's very much pushing in this race right now as Jeffrey Fournier dives into the pit lane.
He does indeed. Let's see. I think, 18 to go. Touch and go, what he's going to stick on that car. I think he might play this safe and put on another set of super softs. He's going to prove me wrong now, isn't he? Yes, he is. Ultra's go on the car. There we go. out of the pits. Of course, nice, much lower fuel load than the start of the race, so he can be able to push on and set much quicker lap times. Burlock again there sets another fastest lap of the race, 27.967. So he's on the march, trying to get this gap down between him and Siebel. And I'll tell you what, it's working. It's working. He actually drives a bit on the grass down the exit of second 2 into the hairpin, but he's getting that gap down to Siebel. This is surprising stuff, really. And even the gap between Bok and Siebel coming down now, it's about 4 seconds now. But Jordan, in a class of his own at the front, doing a job, as I said earlier in the broadcast, doing a job he needs to do to put the title contenders, Bok and Siebel, under pressure here today. Of course, he'll get that gap down only by 5 points as things stand. He would get the gap down to, if I get my words out correctly. But nevertheless, with 2 rounds to go after this, it'll still be 50 points available. Just see Jason Muscat coming out of the pits ahead of the race leader. But Bernard Burlack's in. He's in lap 36.
Yeah, Burlack into the pit, and also in is Daniel Brewer. So Burlack's teammates, although I don't expect them to stack because there was quite a way between them. Matthias Moose also into the pits now. Burlack stops in his box. Germano Zappler is pitting. Daniel Brewer, I already mentioned him. Doesn't stack, that's good. I was a bit worried there towards the end. Kian White into the pits from further back as well. Danny van der Neert in. So a couple of other drivers into the pits. Jeffrey Fournier sweeps past Robin Panzer into turn 1. Gets 9th position on the road for now. I'm not expecting it to stay that way, as he's going to make his way back up the order when more drivers pit. We're still waiting for both of the Evolution drivers, Alex Siebel, Kilk, Simonchich, and various other drivers as well.
Yeah, we'll be seeing people making moves in a second or two, or a lap or two. That's one thing we can guarantee. I see Brewer's coming out in 12th. For Dan Brewer, Burlack's come out in 8th, but in a nice amount of clear air between himself and the next car. So hopefully we'll be seeing some moves there from Burlack. It's going to be more of aggressive strategy. Yannick Bok is in the pits. He's going to be making this move, and he almost loses it under braking, but he manages to catch it really well. Yannick Bok, but he almost took a trip into the barrier there as he locked up the rears, caught the slide very, very nicely. That's one way to come into the pits. Put on a bit of a drift just to do it for the fans.
He is so lucky that he didn't lose control just a split second earlier, because he would have gone into that barrier and it could well have ripped his nose off. So Bok has definitely got away lightly with that one, as also in our Kilk and Winnick. That means that Dennis Jordan is now leading this race, followed by Siebel, Simonchich, Eras, and then Bok. Of course, the top 4 still all yet to stop as it stands, as Matthias Muster works past Robin Panzer, who's also yet to stop for his second time.
Tell you what, I hope Michi Hoy's feeling hungry, because he's going to come in for a drive-through penalty in his previous pit stop. He sped in the pits, and I don't know if he's going to come in this time around on lap 37. Yes, he is, but a drive-through penalty for Michi Hoy, that's going to completely take him out of points contention. And marching down the order in his Scuderia Brasilia car as well. So that is unfortunate for him. He's going to probably come out around about, as he's come out behind the Hawkeye of Jason Muscat as well.
Tobias Olsen, I'm afraid, has become our latest retirement in the YTF car, continuing the YTF1 curse. He had a big spin, he then recovered, he then had another big spin just 2 corners later and stuffed it in the barrier. So I'm afraid that is the end of the day for Tobias Olsen. And I'm afraid his teammate's not doing much better. He's only running in 25th position as it stands. Alex Siebel pits, as does Yoni Simonchich. Sergi Eras is also in the pits, meaning Jordan leads the race now from Bok. And Jordan, of course, the only driver in the top part of the field who is yet to stop. The next of those drivers, being Robin Panzer, is just being passed by Daniel Brewer there towards turn 1. Brewer, has Brewer jumped Brewer there? Because I don't think he was ahead of him before the pit stops. So I think that's the change, and there's actually quite a big gap between the two of them as well at this point in time.
Well, one thing I am shocked about is Robin Panzer's put on soft compound tyres. At this stage of the race,
Well,
wonder why
no, he
that's done
actually
that.
he hasn't stopped yet. So Robin Panzer.
That's why. Sorry, apologies. Yeah, he hasn't stopped yet. So,
Yeah, he's been on those soft tyres for something like 20 laps now.
yeah, I'll you know, I completely. Ignore me there. We'll try to at least. But yeah, he has not stopped yet, so he's got a pit stop to make as Mr. Panzer. One thing I have taken notice of, Peter Burlak, only a second out behind Seaborn. That gap was 4 seconds not so long ago. So Burlak's on the march, and he may be able to get DRS next time round here after 130R and under brakes here after Castillo Triangle. Will Burlak get that DRS? He's already set the fast lap of this race, 27.2. That time's marching down. And he is going to get DRS down this straight. There goes the letterbox opening up for the Edge Esports number 1. He goes down the straight there. Once again into turn 1 and 2 there as well. But Jordan there's still, the gap's come down a little bit. There's still 4 seconds between the two teammates at the front. Siebel about 3 seconds behind Mr. Bock. But yeah, Burlak getting this gap down lap by lap as well. Then it's a gap there between Fournier and Moose there as well. 5th and 6th for them. Brewer, Kilt, Panzer and Rilk provisionally round out the top 10. Hutchison, Simicic, Sapala, Milnek and Heras round up the 15.
So as we continue the race, we're now almost 3/4 of the way through, and still, as you say, Jordan leading from Bock, but Siebel and Brylyak are much closer than they were before. So Brylyak, he definitely is a driver who goes better in the race than in qualifying, and he's been improving and improving all the way through. He's now almost in contention. Well, he is in contention for the podium here. He's in DRS range of Alex Siebel, just about. And I tell you what, we could well be seeing Petr Brylyak on the podium today, which would take a lot of wind out of Alex Siebel's sails in terms of the championship. And Dennis Jordan is coming out ahead of Yannick Buck, but only by 2.9 seconds. So still relatively close between the Evolution guys, about as close as it was before. Jordan's going to be gaining points over both of his championship rivals in this race if it stays this way. He's just about to lap Ryan Elliott. Sorry?
I'll say Simicic made the move, but I also saw further back we have Hutchinson and Sapala for 12. Getting very, very close down the front straight, but Simicic is on the move. He's into 11th place. Milnek's also trying to capitalise on these two battling as well, but Simicic already pulling up the road. Fastest lap. Alex Siegel, 20th first round in the 26s of 26.9. And I think now he's just starting to get those ultra softs into temperature and building up a little bit of a gap from his rival in this battle, Petr Brylyak as well. Moose is also close at the back of Fournier, I've noticed as well. That's going by a little bit. But this main scrap now, I'd say, between Hutchinson, Sapala, and Milnek now, this is the battle, and of course Simicic is now going to purple a little bit out of the road. Really, I've said the battle for 12th place.
Yeah, battle for 12th place that is between Hutchinson and Zapala, but also Winnick. I think even closer to Zapala through there as well. And they haven't really got Sergi Aras that far behind either. So I suppose that means we have a 4-car chain there for 12th position. Catching Yerny Simonjic. They're within a second of Yerny Simonjic. I'd argue it's a race for 11th place, maybe even 10th, because Robin Panzer is dropping back towards them as well on his yellow walled tyres. Meanwhile, Petr Bryak's dropped out of the DRS range of Alex Siebel, but I imagine that's temporary since Brylyak, we seem, is definitely gaining time in this race. Both of them are on the ultra soft tyre, but Brylyak has just been able to conserve them that slight bit better so far in this race, which will probably end up really helping him in the late stages of this race. I don't expect. Actually, do you think the leads are going to stop again? I'm not so. No. I'm not so sure. I don't.
No, they're not going to stop again. It'll be a fresh now to the flag. So the only person who we expect plan to pit is Mr. Panzer, P10. Robin Panzer, again, for the moment at least in the points, he could actually potentially, depending on how quick his pit stop is, actually come back out in the points, or at least fighting for 17th at the worst. So he could still come out of this race today with a point. It depends whether he thinks it's worth hitting or not.
Yeah, if you look at his times, he's probably going to drop back to, I expect, P17 in his stop. So he'd have to make up 2 positions after that to get back in the points, which is certainly not impossible, and certainly not beyond him. Although it's going to be a tough ask for Robin Panzer, and he's not in the greatest of situations in this race, especially since he's just been absolutely mugged down into turn 1 there by Janne Simon-Church.
Hutchinson, Sapala, and Milnick fighting for position as well behind those guys, scrapping away as well. Just keep an eye on these lap times and the gaps, and I think Siebel is closing up to Bock.
He is.
Well, the gap is now 2.5 seconds, isn't it now? So whether Monk's done a mistake or not, didn't catch it, but Siebel is closing in regardless. And also Siebel's pulled away a little bit now from Burlak, out of DRS range now, so no direct threat there from the Edgy sports car. And now he's actually got the slipstream off Elliott now. He's a lap car.
Yeah, he is definitely catching Bock here. He's within 2 seconds of him. Also, Matthias Moos is catching Fournier as well for 5th place. So Moos, who we saw dropping back earlier and not having the best time of things, obviously that was just that one stage in the race that was costing him. And now he's catching back up to Fournier. He was very close to him into the Casio Triangle that time around. I wonder as well whether maybe some of that time that the Bock loss was due to getting past Ryan Elliott there. But still getting closer, as is Moose to the inside of Fournier and back up into the top 5. So panic over as far as Moose is concerned. He's pulled exactly the same maneuver on Fournier that Fournier pulled on him earlier. How the tides turn.
He has, yeah. So Moose fell back. He seems to like his ultra softs because he did well when he was on them in the first stint as well. Now he's back on them again. He seems to be upping the pace a little bit. Ahead of Fournier now. Pulling away from Brewer a little bit. Burnett there now. He's got ahead of Ryan Elliott. He's 2.5 seconds behind Siebel. So yeah, he's definitely dropping back now after that early burst of pace from Burlap. Seems to have just dropped a little bit now. Siebel seems to be the man on the move in this sort of scrap here for the top positions. Jordan just cruise it here from now. He's 5 seconds up the road with just under 10, well, about 9 laps to go now between now and the end of the race. Box going to be the man under a little bit of pressure. Not now, but definitely in the later stages of this race. Maybe even in the next 5 laps, he'll be seeing that red car getting ever bigger and bigger in his rearview mirror.
It's very close now between Moose, Fournier and Brewer. Fournier is not allowed Moose to get away on that lap, and I tell you what, Brewer is right in his tail as well. As we're into the final 20% of the race, definitely the final stages now.
And there's contact behind, sorry to cut you off, but Sapalas had to cut across the AstroTurf there, as there's a little bit of a push, I think, from Harris onto Milnick, who in turn went into Sapalas' car. And so I'm just going to catch it on my screen there a little bit.
That was a misjudgment from both Winnick and Harris. They both missed their braking points. Both went into the cars ahead of them, just like the opening lap incident. And that's why Zapala ended up cutting across the gravel and losing that time.
So, yeah, getting a bit aggressive there, but luckily not too much harm was caused. And I think actually, in all honesty, Zapala can actually, because there's a little bit of a gap down behind him, can actually focus more on the Robin Panzer. Ahead is a little bit of a train now. I think he's going to be struggling now on these very, very used soft tyres. And I think now he's just going to have to brave it, because Kieran White's in 16th. He's going to be closing up on these cars as well. He's hard filming a bit of a train, unless Zapala was having a look there on the inside, couldn't make it stick again. A very, very tight, acute angle into the corner. Zapala was not going to brave that one, but now he might have a better chance. Actually, set himself up for up the straight here. I think he might actually be having a look down into the Casio Triangles. Panzer looks like he's holding in the middle of the road. Zapala getting very close to the back of the Street Fighter car ahead. Now with DRS, of course, looking like he's going to have a much better chance. Down is straight. He's going to be touching over 200 miles an hour, or 320 kilometers an hour down his straight. So Parma makes the move down the inside. Milnick's trying it as well. A little bit of a push there as he makes the move on Panzer. Heras there also gets past as a result. So poor old Robin Panzer loses 3 positions in pretty much 1 corner. And back down to 15th now. Kian White's going to be the next man who's going to be... He's 4 seconds down the road of Panzer, but the way Panzer is losing time, that's going to take 2 or 3 laps or so, I think.
Thank you to Rodrigo Carvalho for working out how the championship will stand after this race. These, of course, the unofficial standings. It'll be Bock on 241 points ahead of Siebel on 232, and Jordan will, of course, significantly up. He'll only be 8 points behind Siebel on 224. So the championship as a whole, I think, will be getting slightly closer. Definitely close between Siebel and Jordan in second and third, and they'll still only be 9 points separating Bock and Siebel. Those, of course, are unofficial results, and we can't confirm anything like that just yet. But thank you anyway to Rodrigo Carvalho for giving us that insight.
Tell you what, Ben Archer will not be thanking Brian Elliott after today. Another front wing disappeared from his car because he lost it on the exit of Spoon. Now he's into the pits, down in P24, or 25 now, and repairing that car once again. He is going to be the last runner in this race after his pit stop. I'd say now because Leon Bock has now passed Brian Elliott as a result. He's on soft tyres. Actually, Leon Bock, he's going to go into the end of this race. Next car ahead of him is Jason Muscat. He's up at miles up the road in 23rd, so can't really see too much about. We're right at the tail end of the field. They're all a bit spread out. One battle we might be seeing here, of course, Matthias Moose, Fournier, Brewer, and Kilt, 5, 6, 7, and 8, all in a line with 6.5 laps to go. This is going to be really, really tasty and spicy in the next couple of laps.
Yeah, before it was just Moose, Fournier, and Brewer, but now Kilk has caught right up to them too. So Moose got past Fournier just now, although not able to get away from him. Fournier sticking in his toe in his DRS range and sticking with him around this Suzuka circuit, not letting him get away into the distance. And they've got 2 other cars for company on their tail. A little bit of a gap back to Simonchich, so I'm not sure we're going to get another one. But definitely this fight looks as if it may be about to kick off. Watch them snake down the straight. That's exactly the effect that I was talking about earlier, where they seem to weave. And Fournier got very close to Moose, but slightly too late in the straight to do anything about it. He took a look to the right hand side and decided that discretion was the better part of valor, as of course he would do in that situation. But Matthias Moose appears to have some pressure now. He was looking strong at the start of the stint, but it appears to be towards the middle part and the end of his stint that he appears to lose that pace.
So 5.5 laps to go for these guys at the front of the field. Dennis Jordan's just going to be completing his 48th lap. Completing lap 47, sorry, starting his 48th lap, I should say. They'll have 5 laps to go to complete the race. But yeah, Moose now, he's got a little bit of a gap for now. Fournier has got down Brewer a bit closer behind than Moose has with Fournier behind him, so to speak. The gap's a bit closer there. I'd say Fournier got plenty of straight line speed though to compensate that. So it goes through as they go through 130R once again. They all brake very sensibly. I'll tell you a good thing actually, we haven't seen too many accidents today regarding contact with other drivers. You know, it's been really, really good. You know, nice close battling. And speaking of nice close battling, Kian White for P15 makes the move on Robin Panzer. That was easy pickings, wasn't it, really? Candy from a baby, almost, for Kian White. And he's got that mad cape into the points.
Final few laps of this race now. Final 5 laps are on lap 49 out of lap 53, and surely Moose just needs to defend for his life now. Just needs to keep it on that line and not give Fournier any opportunities. And surely now Fournier, Brewer, and Kilk, they've got to gun for it. They've got to attack, and force Moose to go defensive. Force him to lose time, concentration. Force him to drop back. And the prime place to do that is down through 130R, down towards the chicane. I can't see Fournier not having a little look this time around at least, because he's got Dan Brewer right on his tail, and Riot Kilk's also in the trainer's teammate, but he's too far back to help out just yet. So it's all up to Fournier and Moose at this point in time, with several other drivers waiting to pounce.
Really are. I'm just thinking about it actually for the championship constructors battle. It's been a good day for today. It's been a good day for Edge Esports, 4th and 7th provisionally, and also a good day for Green Stripes as well. Simracing up in 9th provisionally as well. It's just running off the track. Stefan Ruolt has cut the AstroTurf up the final chicane. He's actually into the pits with 4 laps to go. Stefan Ruolt decides the pits. Yeah, I wonder if he's got a brake failure.
Oh, that may well have been why he missed the chicane there.
He's in the pits.
Well, the last time he made a pit stop was lap 35, so that's a longer lasting than a lot of people would have been hoping for. I'm just going to look back at his telemetry there. He touched the brakes. Oh, that's definite brake fade, I'd say.
Well, I don't know. He's going back out on track. He's down in 17th. He's out of the points. Let's see. Well, he ain't really got a real braking zone to really test the brakes out actually now, but he's down in 17th. We'll keep an eye on that. But he's going through this section. We'll only really know about the brakes when he gets to the second of Degners. That's when we're going to really find out, see what's going on here. It's kind of actually he's approaching Degners now. Might as well stay on board. He's in 17th at the moment. He's wiggling the car a little bit. Brakes. Yeah, it seems fine. Absolutely fine. Here we go. But it's a real test actually now. If he brakes right for the hairpin.
Yeah, probably just wasted his tyres.
Yeah, he's got an issue. He's using the gears, I think, to downshift the car.
Oh.
A little bit. I think that's what's happening. He's really been quite aggressive with the gears. He goes down 8th, now 7th, 6th, 5th, and he's keeping quite high revs as well. So I think he's using the gears a little bit there to help slow the car down. But nevertheless, he's going to give it a good go. He's in 17th. He's got nothing to lose regarding points. But with 2.5 laps to go at the front now, Jordan has absolutely walked this race, hasn't he? 7 seconds ahead of Bot now. And he's just been controlling it at the front. And for Dennis Jordan now, for the message for his championship contenders, game on. Very much so, isn't it? It's really from Jordan, because now, as Rodrigo pointed out earlier, 17 points will be the gap. Going into, obviously, got to check penalties first, but going into Kota, 2 rounds to go, 17 points is nothing. It really isn't. I mean, it's been super consistent all year, but one mistake from the two guys, Bok and Siebel, and it could be very much Dennis Jordan's to really chance to capitalise for this championship win as well. Just notice how Michi Hoyer's got another drive-through penalty. He'll be piling on the pounds if he keeps driving through these pits, because that'll be his 4th time through the pits. It's definitely time to definitely have a snack. So I say he won't be getting no points today, unfortunately, for Brasilia.
Yeah, probably this time not getting a milkshake on the side, because he's going to be pretty full. Whatever the case, back down the start-finish straight. Moose definitely going defensive there. He feels the pressure from Fournier behind him. That's because Fournier's up on top of him almost. That was very, very close. I was also going to say, Rural, while he doesn't have anything to lose in terms of points, he needs to make sure that he doesn't have a complete brake failure and plow into anyone else, because that could definitely cost him popularity and maybe cause him to pick up a penalty as well. And again, stewards do tend to be lenient when it comes to incidents caused by brake failures, since there's often not really much you can do about that. Danny van der Neert's just claimed the final points paying position from Robin Panzer. He's got past him into turn 1, so it doesn't look as if Panzer will be scoring any points today, despite his radically different strategy to most of these other drivers, which he went on to because of the 10 grid slot penalty that he knew he'd have. And so that's for the final points paying position in 15th place. Back up to 5th place, Fournier's only got 1 more lap to attack Moose, and he's actually, it looks like he may be under more of a risk of being attacked by Brewer.
Yeah, very much so. Brewer's looking down inside, sticking his nose in. There's going to be a bit of contact. Brewer jumps the curve. jumps to the curb, but he has nowhere to go to spin it. And I've got to say, I think that was a very ambitious move there from Dan Burrell. I couldn't see that move really working out. He's nowhere near enough alongside to really make the pass, but he's come out back in 9th position. And luckily for Fournier, he gets away with it, regarding any time lost or that as well. It's going to be difficult to see, but I do look at first initial reaction. I'd say Brewer's probably just been a bit over ambitious there.
Yeah, of course. We'll leave it up to the stewards who do a fantastic job. Although you have to say you can't force another driver to go off the circuit or have an incident with you. Whatever the case, we are on the final lap of the race. Dennis Jordan just has a few more corners to go. He's heading down the back straight towards 1:30 for the final time. Just the chicane to go after this as he goes over the track with sweeps beneath him. Only figure of 8 second on the calendar is Suzuka. Into the Casio triangle, as meanwhile Eras and Winnick having a fight for 12th, but we'll get back to that afterwards because Dennis Jordan has won here at Suzuka.
A stunning job there, and it's game on for these people now. Yannick Brock can see what is game on, and they cross actually second and third behind Siebel, very, very close behind actually in the end. Berlac will finish in 4th position. Dennis Jordan, what a day this is to really get that title challenge back in his grasp, potentially in his grasp. He's got to say now, Dennis Jordan has definitely got the momentum here this season. Moose finishes in 5th ahead of Jeffrey Fournier, Bright Kilclair in 7th. Simonchich with a great effort there for Green Stripes, 8th position. To be really, really happy with that. And so with Green Stripes, that's one thing for sure. Brewer ends up in 9th, Hutchison in 10th, Heras in 11th.
And a change for the points paying positions in the last lap.
13th. And then we've got Van der Neat 14th and Stefan Rupp there. Actually getting a point where something's happened behind, hasn't it?
I'll tell you what's happened. It's that Kian White has run out of fuel on the final lap. Kian White, who was going for P14, has unfortunately had to pull off to the side of the road with just one sector remaining. He's going to be furious with himself about that. Meanwhile, Videk and Pellegrini make contact right at the end, fighting over 19th place. That's not for the points. And they're both backing off. It looks to me as if neither of them wants to take the position. Neither feels they've deserved it. Either that or Pellegrini just ran out of fuel. No, it was that they were just both backing off. They both took blame for the incident. So Pellegrini finishes P19 with Vidal P20. Neither of those are going to score points. But Kian White loses out on 2 points there. Gives 2 to Van der Neert and 1 to Ruhr.
So that's been Singapore. It hasn't been Singapore. That's been Suzuka. I like to live in the past. Singapore was a great race. That's my excuse. But yeah, that has been a fantastic event. Very, very good racing. Particularly, I think, my performance of the day, I'd say Peter Burlack. An outstanding, making his way through the field. Jordan as well, controlling the whole thing from start to finish as well. You can't argue with that. Been absolutely brilliant. Hutchison as well, P10. Decent result there from him. Van der Neet actually has a stand-in driver as well for today for Storm Racing. 2 points for them. They've been getting, since Williams has come and they got those great results. Van der Neet coming in today and getting 2 points for Storm Racing. Really, really good result there from him. But again, a lot of unhappy drivers as well further down the order. You've got to say, bit of mixed bag, but 2 rounds to go. 2 rounds to go. It's going to be a very, very good spectacle for these 3 championship protagonists to be fighting for this championship. So Kota next. Very, very difficult racetrack as well. We see a lot of different mixed results, different strategies playing out. We don't know what the weather's going to be like either. In Texas this time of year, it could be boiling hot. It could be peeing down. That's all we know. But we'll now move over to the next, the interviews in a second or two. Obviously, we've got to get hopefully get the main 3 protagonists in.
Yeah, I'd have to say as well that probably my driver of the day is a close competition between Jordan and Broliak. I think earlier on I was also thinking of Matthias Moose, who did a wonderful job for the Red Archer car, although he just seemed to lose a little bit of pace towards the end of his stints, and of course very nearly lost places as well to some of the other drivers at the top of the field, although again did a fantastic job to hold them off. But yeah, Petr Brojak, great job, climbed from I think he was 8th or 9th on the grid and finished P4. And Dennis Jordan, a wonderful job to win by 5.715 seconds over his teammate and to very much keep his championship standings alive. He is just 17 points behind the leader, Bok, and we have 50 points up for grabs over the remainder of the championship. So I'd say it's probably between Brojak and Jordan. And if I'd have to pick, I'd probably say Broliak. Whatever the case, we're going to bring in our race victor, I believe, Dennis Jordan.
It's been absolutely outstanding here, Dennis. It's the performance you needed to put in 100% today, and 17 points now the gap after today's race, provisionally, of course. But I saw Tom Parker. He said you were feeling confident today, and that showed 100%.
Yeah, thank you. I think this track has always fared really well for me. So yeah, I mean, at the competition level that you have, you can't really go into the race thinking that you expect to win. But yeah, I think everything else would have been a disappointment today. So, had a great car, great fuel mileage. I think the track had a bit more grip, so it was a bit slower, as weird as that sounds, as we anticipated. So it took some adapting. All went well. I think I had a gap early on and could just control the race. Didn't need to put.
Yeah, it definitely looked like you enjoyed it out front today. No real challenges to face at all. Of course, a little bit of pressure off the shoulders, I admit, as well. You may disagree in some respects, but now the championship battle regarding constructors is over. Obviously Evolution won the team championship. It's very much you and Yannick now fighting it out respectfully with Alex as well. 2 rounds to go, Dennis. I think you've got a great chance here, because obviously you're 17 points behind, so it's difficult, but you've definitely got the momentum going into the final 2 rounds.
Yeah, we'll try my best. I think 17 points. I don't know if the podium always looks like this, then I think it's not enough. But there's always something that can happen, especially at the last. So I think any of us, if whoever wants to win the championship, needs to win at least one more race. So I think it's the same for everyone.
Yeah, it's definitely very, very close. And I'd said for either of you guys, one mistake, it could be all over for any of you guys. So it's going to be intriguing to watch. I'll say everyone watching's very, very interested to see who's going to go on top. I don't think anyone can genuinely say that they can back a driver 100% and say they're going to win. But I think it's too close to call between you three. So it's just going to take one incident. It could go down to the final laps in Brazil. We don't know. But for now, Dennis, it's been outstanding. Congratulations to you and Evolution for today. And we're probably speaking to you in a couple of weeks' time.
Thank you.
So that's been Dennis Jordan. Obviously very, very happy with his result today. There's no one else here around to do an interview, unfortunately. So instead of wasting you guys' time and listen to me talk rubbish for even longer, I'm going to call it there. But that has been another great event. We've had 14 amazing rounds of Super League this year. 2 more to go, Caitlin. This is going to be so tense for these guys fighting for the championship, as well as the teams involved as well, regarding battles with like Epic, Edenis, all these great teams as well. Edgy Sports, they were in there as well. Red Archer, ACR, they're all fighting it out as well for these important positions in the team championship. Of course, also regards that prize money as well.
Totally. So make sure you don't miss the next Super League race. 2 weeks' time, we're going to be at the Circuit of the Americas, the thrilling United States Grand Prix circuit. And that, as I said, is just in 2 weeks' time, the 10th of October. And then, of course, 2 weeks from there, we are going to be at the Brazilian Grand Prix as well. Tomorrow, not tomorrow, sorry, I went back into Super League Lights mood there for a second. Next week, we have Formula Challenge and also ITC. And the Academy Series. Don't let me forget that. So we have a full week's worth of racing next week as well, and then of course the week after that we have more Supercup action, more Super League Lights action, and more Super League action from the United States Grand Prix. So thank you all very much for watching. I've been Caitlin Penny. Back to you, David Carter.
Yeah, I'll say it's yeah, it could be tough. A lot of championships to be fought out in all series. I mean, particularly Super Cup, Formula Challenge as well. As you guys know, I'm going to be glued to that. Like, I'm not going to comment. I was going to say something then. I'm not going to say it because I have to put 18+ rating on the video. But yeah, very, very tight and intense for a lot of teams out there. So everyone who is in a championship battle out there, whether you're in Formula Challenge, Super League, Super League Lights or Super Cup, I wish you all the very best of luck for the remaining couple of rounds. I've been David Carter. Until next time in a couple of weeks, I'll see you then. Bye for now.